and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. A special shout out, of course, to our Patreon family. We appreciate, love you so much for supporting us on that platform. And thank you so much for the overwhelming comments and emails that we get from you, especially around some of the topics that we're touching on at such a time as this. I'm reporting live and direct, beloveds, from an island called Manda in the middle of the Indian Ocean, at the corner of Kenya, or should I say the Horn of Africa? Anyway, I should look at a map more closely. But I did a video a couple of weeks ago talking about how education was designed to make you a fool. It was designed to dumb down your spiritual powers and to limit your capacity for creativity. And I got an overwhelming number of emails from parents who were asking, okay, so how do we bypass some of the rules? Because some some countries, you have to fit within their curriculum of what you say you should teach your child. Others saying, what should I teach my child, etc., etc. And I think it is so important, beloveds, at such a time as this, to go deeper with the education of your children. There are ways to balance out the rules that will be required of you. There are ways to fit in the curriculum. You are dealing with genius children. Your children, there was a research that was done that showed melanated or African children, they're actually dumbed and slowed down so much by the current Mzungu curriculum, because by the time they're hitting 12, they have the brain capacity and intellect to be building things and designing things and learning what we call here polytechnics. They should be on the level of learning to be engineers and carpenters and all these things, but instead we really, really slow them down. So managing the curriculum requirements of the different countries that you're in, the legal requirements, is not that complicated. That's something that you could even, here in Kenya, what a lot of parents have done is they've hired one teacher to kind of teach their children everything that, the Babylon system requires. But the education of your child has to go deeper than that. I think now it's so important to teach your child how to fend for themselves, how to feed themselves, how to plant food, how to filter water, how to create basic things. But beyond that, and really talk to them about the kind of world that we're living in, the Babylon system that is falling, and how we as a melanated people have been main targets. Like, really tell your children the truth. I can't remember, was it Bob Marley who said that? Tell the children the truth, beloveds. That's what's required. But I think in this season, there are so many special children that have come through that you need to go deeper with your child. I would say, and someone commented, I don't know if her name was Silver Eyes or Silver Star, something like that. And she was talking about how parents should really get into the astrological charts of their children. And I was like, that is such a brilliant idea, beloveds, because every child, every one of us comes in with our own personalities, with our own giftings, with our own challenges, which people call weaknesses, but they're not weaknesses, with our own challenges and our own strengths. And it's important, the parent is the primary teacher of the child. So it's important for you to look at, the astrological and numerological chart of your child to see what giftings they came in. And it may even give you hints at, what they're here to do, whether they're healers, whether they're empaths, whether they're the golden children that many have been waiting for, so that you can now look at the kind of education model where you'll focus your attention on. And we're lucky right now that there's so much you can learn on YouTube. YouTube is like the new university, beloveds, where you really don't have to go anywhere. There's so much you can learn, from mechanical engineering to putting cars together to putting local solar panels together. Someone actually sent me a YouTube video. So it's important to look at where the talents of your child lie. And then based on those talents, now move into, tailoring what you're teaching them to primarily focus on building those talents, but also incorporate all the other things. I think it's also very important from a young age to get your child into doing yoga, beloveds, to get your child into doing meditation, to get your children to be used to being in silence in the environment. Like, take your children out in nature. There's someone who emailed me and was talking about how they grew up in the boondocks somewhere, in the farm, which was like such a lovely life because they were climbing trees, crossing rivers, playing in fields. And there's so much knowledge that she was taught that she took for granted at that time. But now she sees is like, there's so much intuitiveness that she now has. I think she even put it in the comments of that video. So it's really important, beloveds, to prepare your children to be higher man beings for this higher world that is here to, that is not here to come. It's already here. It's already here. It's unfolding for those who are ready. And your children are ready for this. So it's important to provide that higher and enlightened environment. I think it's also important to build the character of your child, to respect nature, to give back, to offer gratitude, teach your child early to create vision boards, to dream, to script. This is the new education that children need. And then you can also incorporate things like what's happening with, AI, artificial intelligence, really do the necessary research on that. By the way, I'm not an expert. I'm just giving you my 2 cents. Look at all of that because our children have also come in with a highly advanced overstanding of computer technology and all this technology. So be the one to teach them and to steer them in a way where that technology will work for them and not against them, because Babylon has placed so many booby traps, beloveds, in this technology where if you don't direct your child, which is basically your role as a parent, then they will fall prey to, the metaverse, this digital universe that they're trying to create, for the entire world, beloveds. So we have to we have to really look at education from a much wider perspective. Anyway, let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, beloveds, to Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? Thank you so much for all the likes and comments and shares, beloveds. And if any of these topics interest you, please make sure you go through the comments, because there's so many, of our brethren and sistren, is it thren or sistren, who really contribute just such valuable extra resources that you can research, that you can look into, to really make this a transformational experience for your life. And I've been getting a lot of questions from parents who say, okay, so what do I teach my children? And it's very important for many of you to realize that you actually have golden children to begin with. And there's been a lot that's been said about indigo children, star children, crystal children basically who are coming in, souls that are coming in with a much higher vibration. Many call them also the chosen ones. They chose themselves, and they are literally, just by being born into this world, they are changing the vibration and the energetic frequency of this world. And so they have to be treated, your job is just to create enough of an environment where they can come into their power. And it's very, very important to know the child that you've, brought into this world. I mean, there's so much information online. They'll even tell you, children who are born in this year. You should even look into Chinese astrology, beloveds. These are ancient practices that they've used for so long. So I think it's so important to look into all the Vedic astrology, Chinese astrology, and look at the kind of, draw out a map for yourself of the kind of challenges that your child has come in, and then realize that we move, life happens in 7-year cycles. Every 7 years, all our cells totally renew ourselves, and we literally become a new physical being. So imagine what's happening on the spiritual world realm, when we know that everything from spirit manifests the physical. So it's also important because, astrology will also tell you, every 7-year cycle, astrological, what your child will be dealing with. And you can use that information, beloveds, to really assist your child. Because you see, a lot of you, your children are actually here to help you. They're actually here to save you. They are your individual messiahs. They are your family messiahs, the saviors of your bloodline. And they are here to continue the great work that you've done. And you know, children don't do what you say, they do what you do. So the greatest education is how you live your life, how you choose to live your life, how you choose to conduct your relationship with your spouse, with the external family, and how you live within your gifts, beloveds. Because you see, healers are choosing to be born into, into families of healers. Christed ones are choosing to be born into families, and usually it's also a bloodline thing, but they learn more from what you do. So the more you get into your craft, the more you get into your great works, and the more you live an intuitive life, and you acknowledge your powers of seeing into the future, of prophecy, of being able to heal, of knowing what plants to use to replenish yourself. When you do that, it has a way, when your child sees that, they will mimic that, and it will also activate their own lives. So living your most powerful life is the greatest education for your children. Standing firm for what you believe in this season and explaining it to them in a way that they will understand, that will not cause them fear, that will not cause them anxiety, that will not cause them unnecessary mental and psychological trauma, but explaining to them the world, because they are warrior spirits, the children that have come in this season. Anyone, I swear, who's like under 18, and many of us were warrior spirits before, but anyway, those are stories for other days. But anyone who has come in and is still a child now, they're spiritual warriors. They're armed for such a time as this. They're armed for such a time as this. And they're also armed to protect you. Because, one child can be born into a family, and maybe they're the seventh child, maybe they're the eighth child, maybe they're the only child. But that child, the blessings that they carry, and the personal spiritual security that is following that child, will bless the whole family and the extended family and the clan. And some are even here to bless nations. Some are even here to bless and impact and transform the whole world. And a lot of us who are the trailblazers right now, our children are the ones who are going to continue what we're doing and take it to the next level. So that's why back in the day, the way our ancestors, even our immediate ancestors, used to educate their children was through what they call now an apprenticeship program. But it was through, monkey see, monkey do. Who do you think they were calling the monkey anyway? But it was through the child would grow up with their medicine woman grandmother, or their wizard grandfather, or their traditional, birth attendant mother. And that's how they would learn the skills. It would literally just be something that was born into them. So there's a lot of power in that, and in providing an enabling environment. It may sound like a lot of work, but you won't regret it, beloveds. And there actually have been, as I mentioned earlier, I think, some homeschooling systems created by melanated people that have reached out. So I will definitely look into sharing information about them in future episodes. But you can do it, and the time to do it is now. Because seriously, it's not even an option, beloveds. The other option is too risky for you to do. Until next time, Tukopa Moja.